One day, we will wake up to find that the energy that powers the alarm clock came from the breeze through the trees the night before. And we will go to work that morning riding the rays of the sun. It will light our cities and power our businesses. It will warm our homes and cool our workplaces. It will reduce sources of conflict and fuel our economies. It will connect us all.
During the UN Millennium Summit, the United Nations collectively devised a plan to create a better world. Each of the 8 goals all had their own targets and action plans. These goals were planned to have been met by the year 2015, the year we are currently sitting in. Today, we are specifically speaking of Goal 7, Environmental Sustainability. Before the millennium, global warming was only a new concept. 1975 was when the stratosphere was first looked at and the discovery was made about the danger to the ozone layer. Since then, environmental scientists have worked hard to discover and prove global warming, discovering that CO2 was the root cause. Global warming began to become a major political platform in the late 80s and early 90s. This focus on a safer and cleaner environment caused the UN to step up and take global action with this issue. The discovery of the decrease of Greenland ice in 1993 caused the prediction that within a decade, extreme climate change will occur, prompting the Millennium Goals to a cleaner and sustainable Earth.
The first goal that the UN set out to complete was to integrate the principles of sustainable development into country policies and programs and reverse the loss of environmental resources. Despite still being unsustainably high, the rate of deforestation and loss of forests from natural causes is slowing down. The global rate of deforestation has decreased from 16 million hectares per year to 13 million hectares per year in the past decade. The majority net losses are in tropical zones, and net gains have been occurring in temperate zones, with Southern Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa seeing the biggest losses. Reforestation efforts have helped lower loss numbers. The second goal of the UN's environmental sustainability efforts was to reduce biodiversity loss, achieving by 2010 a significant reduction in the rate of loss. The world has not achieved this Millennium Goal, with insufficient protection of biodiversity globally. Despite the number of designated areas to protect ecosystems dramatically increasing in the last half-century, with 2010 seeing 150,000 protected sites, covering 12.7% of land and 7.2% of coastal water, with a reach of 12 nautical miles, many of these areas are being improperly managed, resulting in a visible loss of biodiversity worldwide. The Red List Index, with all of the world's bird species, mammals, and amphibians, states that, overall, species are declining in population worldwide. Amphibians are the most threatened and are declining the fastest of any group. The loss of biodiversity is largely attributed to high rates of consumption, habitat loss, invasive species, climate change, and pollution. The third goal was to have, by 2015, the portion of the population without sustainable access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation. On March 6, 2012, the UN announced that its target to increase access to safe drinking water had been reached 1% above the originally set target. By the end of 2010, this left 89% of the population, an estimated 6.1 billion people, with access to safe water sources, with Sub-Saharan Africa seeing the least improvement. The final goal was to achieve, by 2020, a significant improvement in the lives of at least 100 million slum dwellers. This target has been achieved twice over. Over the last 10 years, over 200 million slum dwellers saw improved access to water, sanitation, and less crowded housing. Thanks to these improvements, these slum dwellers' chances of escaping poverty, illiteracy, and disease are greatly improved. From 2000 to 2010, the percentage of residents living in slum areas in the developing world declined from 39% to 33%, an estimated 200 million people. But due to our rapidly growing population and the fast pace of urbanization, in the last 10 years, the current total number of estimated individuals living in slum urban areas worldwide has been growing, 828 million in 2012 compared to 657 million in 1990 and 767 million in 2000.
The United Nations set out with some pretty ambitious Millennium goals in relation to the environmental sustainability.
2 of these goals have technically been reached, but there is still much work to be done to ensure their success continues to grow.
The other goals, however, have been struggling to make headway.
The UN and the world have a lot of work to do to ensure that ecosystems and the global environment achieve the respect and protection that they deserve.